Hi all, welcome to another video from Vishnu Mantra. Kindly follow this video series in order to learn Selenium C#. If you didn't subscribe the channel, kindly subscribe for more videos. Hope that you are enjoying the series. In our first Selenium test, we saw that, right, there are interfaces coming. So when we declare an iWebDriver object, we saw that there are interfaces. So you might have wondered like what is an interface and what is its difference between class. So in this video we will cover all those things like what are classes, objects. Also we'll look into method overloading. Then our other topic will be interfaces. So we can dive deeper into interfaces and see how it works so that you will understand like while you are using Selenium, what is the relevance of interface and how you are using it. Classes and objects. So what is a class? A class is a data structure that combines state, means methods and other functional members inside a single unit. So what a class does is like it will create a boundary and it will have all the methods which we are using in our Selenium script. And how we can extend a class? We can extend or use a class with its objects. So objects will help us to create the instance of a class and we can use the class and methods anywhere we require. Also, one of the important properties of class is they support inheritance and polymorphism. So we will look into inheritance and polymorphism on our later sessions, but understand that class support inheritance and polymorphism. One important thing is like how to declare a class. So you can see that there is something called access modifier. Okay, so the access modifier you can see, then the class reference type is there, then it followed by identifier, like you can have the class name, and then you will have curly braces. Within the curly braces you will have all the methods written inside that. So we will look into classes much deeper when we go to the Visual Studio screen. So now I will take you through these slides in order to give you an overview, and once we are in Visual Studio we can see the usage of all this. Whenever we want to have the instance of a class, we should have an object in place. So how to declare an object? So in order to declare an object you have to use the class name followed by the object name, then you should have the new keyword and then the class name. So this way we can create an object, and any functions written inside a class can be used by the instance of the object. As I said, like there is something called access modifier. This access modifier provides the accessibility of the class. So when we mention this access modifier as public, it means that this particular class is available for any other class, so that any fields or properties used with this in this class can be used by any other class as well, as long as this class is referred. In order to understand more about access modifier, we'll go to the next slide. So here I have mentioned like different access modifiers like public, protected, internal, private, and private protected. So each one of them, if we add before a class, it gives different accessibility. Okay, so public means access is not limited, it can be accessed by any other class. Okay, now protected means access is limited to the particular class and the class derived from this class. So any class which is inheriting from this class will also get the methods of that particular class. And the another one I would like to highlight is regarding private. So private means access is limited to that particular class alone. Okay, rest all you can read and understand. Here another term coming is regarding assembly. So if you look at internal, it means access is limited to the current assembly. So you might be wondering what means internal is. So and what means current assembly means. So current assembly means, I told you, right, whenever we are having C# and when we use Visual Studio, it will convert it into MIL language first. Okay, so in that language what happens is like .dll or exe will get created as the intermediate. So internal means it is limited to that particular DLL. So now I will give you an overview regarding methods. So method is a code block that contains a series of statements. So inside the code block, if we want to write a series of statements, we can group everything inside a method. So initially during our sessions, I have described like what means a namespace. Within the namespace we will have class, within that we will have methods. Like this we will be grouping, okay, our statements and our logical functions. When it comes to Selenium automation, we will have all our logical functions within a method. One other thing that I would like to cover as part of this video is regarding method overloading. So when two or more methods having same name but different parameters, that is called method overloading. So we will look into that as well. So whenever we are having a method, we will define the method as the accessibility first, that is the access specifier first. Then we will have the return type. So we will have like int, void, string, whichever return type we are having, we will have that. Then we will have the method name. Okay, inside that we will have parameters. So whichever values we are feeding into the method, that we will pass as parameters. So we will look into different types of methods. What all ways we can create methods, we will look into that, and we will also see how method overloading works. Next thing is regarding interface. So interface, it's like class, but the difference is that it does not have any method implementation in it. Okay, so we know that iWebDriver that we are using in order to have Selenium instance or the WebDriver instance is an interface. So we should understand more about interface in order to understand the real sense of what is iWebDriver is. So when we consider interface, we will declare the interface similar to class. We can see the access modifier, then the interface keyword followed by the interface name. Okay, and we will have the method declaration, but we won't be having any method implementation inside the interface. The implementation of this particular method will happen inside another class. So when we get into interface, we can detail more about that. Also note that we didn't mention the access specifier here. So by default, all the methods will be public inside an interface, and it cannot contain any fields. So that means it cannot have any, maybe like integer a or int a, like that. We can't create any fields inside an interface. So now let's go to our Visual Studio screen to understand all these things in detail. Okay friends, so I have the Visual Studio open now. I'm keeping all the videos so far created as a playlist, and you can see the link for that at the top of this video. Now let us get deeper into this code which I have written. So I have two classes created here. First class is like public class or first test, and the second one is public class calculator. Okay, so I will expand our first class. So within this first class, I have one is like one test method created that is having the test attribute, and you can see that I don't have anything written inside this test. So I'm minimizing it now. Okay, so you can see one method created here for multiplication and another one for addition and another one for subtraction here. Okay, and there is one more method created for addition a key. Let's look into each one of this method and understand how all these differ. So first I will open up this one, public void multiplication. Okay, so I'm going to expand it, and what I am doing here is like you can see the return type is void, means this method is not returning anything, and the accessibility is public. Okay, so this is a publicly accessible method, and it is having the return type as void, means it is not going to return anything, and this is the method name. Okay, and inside the method I am declaring two variables, a and b, as integer, and also I am doing the multiplication and storing it in another integer. Okay, and I am having console.writeLine in order to print it. Okay, in our previous video we were having system.console.writeLine. I now referred system here. You can see that using system is here because of the same. I don't have system here. I don't only have console.writeLine. Okay, now what we will do, we will try using this particular method inside our test method. So I'm going to expand our test method. I'm going to use this particular method inside that. Okay, so all this method are within this class, which is our first test. Okay, so I'm going to call this method. So how we can call the method? I can just type the method name and I can call it. Okay. Okay, now what happens if I run this test? If I go to the test explorer, see my test code executed, and I can see output here. It's showing the result here for the values we have passed inside our method. Okay, now if we go back to our test, I will just comment this one. Okay, and we are having the next method. So this method, what I am doing here is like I am having parameters. For this addition, I am having parameters. I am not passing the values of a and b as I have passed here. I am having parameters here. So this is another way I can declare a method, and you can see that I am having the accessibility as public, and I am not returning anything, and I can call this method. But the only precondition is that when I call this method, I have to pass the values of a and b as well. Now what we will do, we will try calling this method addition here. So what I am going to do is I am going to call the addition, and I want to pass two values, right? So I am passing 4 and 2.
Okay, now we will try running this particular test. If I click additional outputs, once after the test run, you can see the result as 6. Okay, so that is also working the way we expected. Okay, now the next thing is like, I'm going to comment this one. And next method is, if you look at here, you can see that I'm having the return type as int. So I'm returning an integer value. And I am having subtraction here, I am having parameters. So in this method, I have declared this particular method with a return type as integer, and I have to use the keyword return, and I have to return an integer value, and I am not printing anything here, right? I can even print here, but I am not printing here. We will try printing it in our method itself. So I am coming back to my method. Here I am passing values as well as I am returning values. So how I will call this method now? What we can do is like, we can straight away print it, or we can even save it into an integer. So if I create another integer here, which is equal to c, and if I say, and if I call this method, how it will be? Subtraction, and I will have two values passed. Okay, so 8, 3. Okay, and I can try printing this here. So I have C printed here. Okay, I'm saving this, and I'm just running my code now. Okay, my test execution got completed, and you can see the result here. So now we saw what are the different ways by which we can declare and implement a method. So we saw that we can have parameters passed, without parameters, with return type, and without return type. Okay, now we will see what is method overloading is. Okay, so here I am having a method again named as add. Here also I am having a method named as add, right? So how do the compiler differentiate between these two? So here comes the concept of method overloading. So both of the methods having same name but different parameters, different numbers of parameters. Here the first method is having 2 parameters, here it is having 3 parameters. So it will differentiate between these two based on the number of parameters getting passed. Okay, so in order to understand that, what I will do is like, I will type a statement here. So if any statement, if you want to type, you can use double quotes, and I am going to type 3 parameter sum. Okay, and here what I am going to do is like, here I am going to write it as parameter sum, right? So we will try using both of this. So I'm going to type add here, and I am having brackets here. See, when I added add itself, Visual Studio is showing me options, right? You can see one of two, which is like, first one is having 2 parameters, and if I click here, it will be showing me the second method with the parameter set. And I am going to pass 2, 3 in order to use our first method, and for the second I am going to pass 3 values. Okay, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now we will try running this to see how it works. You can also debug and see how the statement flow is happening. So we covered about debug in our last video. You can check it out in order to understand how to debug it. So you can see that 2 parameters sum is equal to 5 and 3 parameters sum is equal to 18. Okay, so it got printed as we expected, right? Okay, now we will see regarding the object and how to use a class. Okay, for that what I did is like, I have another class created here, which is called public class calculator. Okay, so this class is having the accessibility as public, and my class name is calculator. Okay, so what I am going to do is like, I am having a method inside that which is for multiplication, and I am passing the values a and b here, and I am having the multiplication done and printing it inside the method. Okay, so now we can see how we are going to use this method inside another class. Okay, in order to do that, what we have to do, we have to declare an object for this particular class. How we can declare an object? It is like calculator followed by object name, okay, equal to new class name, right? We saw in our style, like this is the way how we will create our object. Now we can use the method inside our class. Okay, how? Using the instance. Okay, so we have the object and you can see it already shown us the method name, and I am going to call it here. Okay, now what it will do, it will print whatever we have given inside this class. So we are using the method inside the class with the help of an object. Okay, we will run this script and what happens? You can see that it is printing as we expected. Okay, so this is one way of like accessing the method inside another class. We can also inherit and use it. We will look into inheritance on our later sessions, but anyway, while covering interface, we will see how to have inheritance in place, but we are not going to detail about the same here now. Okay, now let's see what is an interface is. Okay, so interface is similar to class, but it won't have any implementations. So in order to understand the same, what I will do is like I will create an interface. Okay, so I'm going to create public, then the keyword interface followed by I calculator. So by convention, we will be having I used before an interface. Then I will have the curly braces. Okay, now I'm going to declare my interface. So what I'm going to do is like I am going to declare a method here, void sum. Okay, you can see that I'm not implementing it. Okay, so the implementation of this particular method I can do inside another class. Okay, now we can implement this interface inside this class. Okay, in order to do that, what we have to do, we have to inherit this interface. So in order to inherit, we can use colon followed by the interface name. Okay, now if we do that, there will be an error. It will be showing that it is not implementing I calculator sum. Okay, so if you click on the potential fixes, you can see implement interface. If you click on that, automatically a method will get generated. See, this method, in order for our implementation, it got automatically generated. So you can straight away have this method implemented inside this particular class. Okay, so what I'm going to do is like I'm going to have two variables here, int a is equal to 5, comma b is equal to 7, right? Then what I am going to do is like I am going to print it straight away. I am going to print a plus b here. Okay, now what happens? This particular interface is getting implemented in iCalculator as a plus b. Okay, now let's try using this particular method inside our test method. So I'm going back to our test method. Here we are having this object1 declared, right? So what we will do is like we will have object1 dot sum. So I used to follow the convention like to have capital letters for the method name. I'm changing it here and here as well. And if I run it, you will be able to see the results. So I can just run this one. See, the result is printed here. Okay. Now, what we can do is like we can have one other class as well. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to declare one other class as well as public class cal2, and I am going to have this interface inherited by this class as well. Okay, and here I am going to implement this method. So if I click here, this method is here, and what I am going to do, I will have one more variable. So for instance, I will just copy this and paste it here. Okay, here I am going to add one more variable here as 8, and I am going to give here as plus c. Right, now we are having the same interface method implemented in a different way. Here we saw that inside this class we implemented in a different way. Here we are implementing it in a different way. So if I come here, now what I can do is like I can create an object of this interface. Okay, equals, I can have either my first class or the second class. So based on whichever I am calling, this will get implemented. Okay, so now I am going to call my second class. Okay, and if I call the sum here, what happens? It will print a different sum for me. Saving it, I am going to run this thing. Okay, if I go to the result, see 20 got printed, which is the sum of our this particular method. Right, so what did you see? You can see that I am having this interface and I am having an object with a different implementation of the interface method. Okay, so where we can see an example of this, when we saw our Selenium test, right? iWebDriver driver is equal to new Chrome driver. Okay, we saw the same, right? See, in this statement, when we used inside our first Selenium test, we did the same, right? We are having an interface called iWebDriver and we are having an implementation from Chrome driver for this particular driver instance, and we were using this particular instance throughout our code. Okay, so I hope now you might have completely understood what are interfaces and what is the usage. Okay, now if you want Firefox driver, we can easily have Firefox driver here instead of Chrome driver, and we can even have switch cases where we can switch to different drivers, and we can have configuration files where we can mention which browser it has to opt for. So all these things you will see in our later sections, but understand the relevance of interfaces and how it is helping us. I hope this with this video it is very clear for you. So this is all we thought of covering in this video. In our next video we will cover regarding Selenium controls, where we will learn in detail regarding different controls inside Selenium, and we will have our automation done extensively using this. Okay, so I hope that you like this video. Kindly click on the like button, also share the video, and click on the subscribe button as well as the bell icon in order to receive new notifications and videos. Thank you for watching.